So, Jen, tell us a little bit about what has drawn you to Chilton and the process of coming to apply here.
So by the time that I was finishing my doctorate studies, I really began thinking about my calling as a pastor. And then when I teach and preach, I get lots of affirmation about that. So I'm like, maybe if the Lord wills, I'll be in a place where I can exercise the gift that God has given me. So I looked all over the Northeast, actually. I looked at so many churches, but one church really stood out. Really, only church I applied was Chilton. I have not put any other application any place else. And I saw opening of this church in March 2019. To be exact, end of February. But I prayed about it. Our church, my current church, was also going through transition. So I thought about, should I do it or not, for 6 months. And I said to myself, if Chilton found a pastor by September, October later, then maybe God is somebody else. If not, I'm going to apply it. Long and behold, September, October came, and I still saw opening. So I remember my first email to church committee saying, hey, I'm sure I'm very late in this process, but here is my application. The fact that what drew me so much to Chilton is PLT model. In my doctoral studies, I studied about preaching in the context. I studied about John Calvin and John Calvin's disciple Bazar. In a book, Company of Pastors talks about 3 great preachers of that day. He talks about Calvin, Verret, and Farrell, those 3 prominent pastors. Calvin was known for insight. Farrell was known for his vehemence. Verret was known for his poetic elements. And after Bazar observed all these great preachers of the day, Bazar concluded that the best preacher would be the combination of all those 3. But of course, no one person can embody all that.
Right.
So when I saw Chilton, that they have a PLT model, pastor of worship, pastor of discipleship, pastor of mission, and sharing pulpit together, exercising their God-given gift, it really inflamed in my heart, ignited passion, and I would love to be in the context if the Lord wills. So I applied for it, and long and behold, here I am.
Here we are. Here we are.
So, Jen, when you're not preaching and working at church, what do you like to do?
I love going to gym. I just enjoy really working out. So either lift weight, do some CrossFit. I also really enjoy swimming. So I go down there and just dunk myself in a pool and swim it away. If not, then I'm a curious man. So I just study, I learn, whether it be related to church or not. I'll just find myself studying a bunch of things I'm interested in. That's what I normally do. What I not do is cooking. I'm not the best cook. You won't find me cooking. But I enjoy eating, though. If you have any cooking, let me know.
And you mentioned, just very briefly, prayer. Can you talk a little bit about the role that prayer has played in your life and the way just give us a sense of how you view prayer?
Prayer for me is like an oxygen. I just don't know how you can live without prayer as a Christian. To me, that's like deeply personal and deeply, I just don't know where I would be apart from prayer. Like, I was a typical pastor's kid in a sense, being really good in front, but maybe behind it, be a little different. My mom and dad knew that. In South Korea, we have this early morning prayer meeting. So my mom would get up at 5 morning every day to go to prayer meeting. After that prayer meeting, she would come back to my room when I was in elementary school. 6 to 7 every morning, she held my hand and prayed for me for years. To this day, actually, when my mom touches me, I know this temperature because she held my hands. And I remember feeling her tears. And really, my mother's prayer transformed my life vividly.
Coming to Chilton, you're coming to a church that has a 120-year history, which means that we have every generation represented in our church family. Can you tell me a little bit, how do you feel about that? Does that excite you? What do you kind of respond to that?
Absolutely. I'm very excited with the long legacy and also very different generational all coming together. When you look at 1 Corinthians 12, it talks about the body of Christ. We can all different parts of body work together as one. For example, a little child in a church can contribute only way, that way that this child can do that adult cannot do. There's so much thing that adults can learn from children, and children can observe also way of the Lord by seeing how adults interact with one another. And also adults can learn from this childlike faith by interacting with them, being with them. Children are unashamed to approach Jesus. Children really boldly approach the throne without any hesitation. I think we need to learn from that. So from little children to adults to elderly, I think all these different generations come together. That makes up one body, and our cornerstone is Christ that unites all of us together.
Texas, the real question is, did it pollute you and make you a Dallas Cowboys fan?
I neither confirm nor deny. No, it didn't.
Oh, good. Okay, that's the bottom line. That was one of the most important questions.
That's right. That's $1 million point.
That's right. The better question is, will you wholeheartedly endorse and support the Eagles?
Fly high, Eagles.
Let's go! Fly, Eagles, fly. That's great.
Well, it's good to know that Jen is going to be an Eagles fan. I need to let you know that our scheduled March 29th meet and greet has to be postponed due to the virus concerns. We're working on Plan B, and I ask you to be patient with us as we try to put together the best way to connect Jen with you. In the meantime, we will let you know just as soon as we can, and please continue sending your questions to office@chilton.org. Most of all, thank you so much for your prayers.